Welcome to Developing the Leader Within podcast, the podcast that brings you leadership insights from the brightest minds shaping our world. Join us as we dive into conversation with trailblazers, innovators, and change makers, spanning every corner of the globe. Get ready to explore new perspectives, gain actionable insights, and become the leader the world needs today. Unleash your potential. Tune into Developing the Leader Within podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Let's embark on this transformative journey together. Developing the Leader Within podcast, leading beyond limits.
Welcome back, everyone. If you haven't subscribed, please do so right now, as it will help us getting our show to others and help us get to our next milestone. Make sure to catch us streaming on Parade Deck, on Roku, and Amazon Fire TV on the Purpose Place Network, and catch our exclusive members-only content, Going Deeper Within, on the Lions Guide Academy. Today, we are speaking with Val Alino. Val is the CEO of Val Alino Coach. She is an award-winning international speaker and author, a certified life conscious parenting coach, NLP practitioner, and Montessori educator who has empowered thousands of teachers, parents, leaders, and children to heal, evolve, grow, transform, and unlock their full potential. Val, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that introduction. I'm super excited to finally be here in your podcast. That I want to congratulate you because I know it's doing incredible. I read you won an award yesterday or last week, third place. That's a huge accomplishment. So I am truly inspired to learn how you're doing this work. And thank you for opening that venue to touch more lives, because bringing new knowledge, people with different experiences, you are definitely a bridge to the connection of people's hearts. So thank you so much.
No, thank you for that. And I've been waiting for this conversation as well, because I know that you do so many things, but we're going to try to capture that, folks, into this conversation. And we'll be speaking about unlocking your deepest healing, the breakthrough fusion of mind, body, and energy. And before we get into that conversation, Val, tell us a little bit about you.
This topic is so inspiring to me as well. Actually, just recently, I had a couple of aha moments, because marketing gurus and people who want to present me in different stages or podcasts, it's like, who is Val? I mean, you do so many things, Val. Like, how do you really describe yourself? First of all, I'm a seeker and lover of life now. I was not. I was so down, rock bottom, that my fears and my trauma literally took me to make decisions that had an impact in my health and my life. And I had to really seek help in every aspect of life, because I did take a wrong turn and actually was out of life for 3 days. Literally, I reached that point where I no longer had that drive to live and took actions on it. So I have a really big passion for awakening, the awakening process, and helping people heal. But I could not do this without doing the work myself. And why Val has accomplished to do so many things, I all of a sudden understood that when I was going through all my trauma healing, I had to go see so many different specialties, so many different people, the energy worker, the spiritual person, the coach, the counselor, the psychologist, the psychiatrist, the NLP practitioner, all of these different venues to heal. And I could not afford it. B, I was done sharing my trauma with so many people. And now Val Alino Coach comes under one roof. When people come to this coaching that is completely holistic, because it encounters even the conscious parenting, anything that you are going through life, it can come under one roof, and you don't have to overextend yourself, overpay people, and we hold the space that you need at that moment.
Very powerful. And thank you for sharing that. Folks, a lot of times we see what you are presented in social media. And today I was reading another a post of a friend that, hey, it's not all rainbows, roses, or anything. You get a snapshot of a moment and then you kind of put all those together and think it's all great. But thank you for sharing that personal moment. I did a lot of suicide prevention, suicide response type of stuff in my previous life with the military. So near and dear to my heart.
Mm.
I am not going to tell you that I have not been one to think of things in that realm because life gets hard, right? Life gets hard. And we're going to be talking about specifically what you do this morning. And your coaching integrates neuro linguistic programming, somatic wisdom, and energetic flow. So, can you share how you have developed this unique fusion and why each element is essential to deep healing?
Absolutely. Thank you for that question. All that I mentioned before, when you are just catering to one part of the body or one part of the mind, we are not really giving a whole service to oneself, to our heart, to our soul. So by integrating these three aspects that you've mentioned, they're essential to bring the overall well-being of the person in a holistic level. Though with their neuro-linguistic programming, you're um, re retelling the story in a different way, changing those power patterns that have been instilled with you through generations, obviously with the different tools that neurolinguistic program has offered for so many years. And it's so powerful to be able to tell your story but from a different place, and going through those processes with people, it's really inspiring to see how one can understand that your old story actually makes who you are, and how to be in love with that part of you as well, with the energy flow. The energy stifles in certain parts of the body, so I'm combining now also the somatic wisdom. When that emotion, with that pain stays in whatever part of your body, you feel heaviness, you can't really speak, you feel stuck, your body actually is driving the energy. And if you are not releasing that, then we can't do anything with neurolinguistic programming. So there must be a combination of all. And this is why I have dedicated so much into my own learning in energy in so many different modalities. Thank goodness now even Reiki is now approved as an alternative way of healing. We do access consciousness. I am also now sound healing therapists with different instruments and just different practices overall with body, getting the knowledge of the power of the breath and tapping and moving. And the movement is really, the movement of the body is something that really allows you to release trauma. And so this is why I'm so passionate to integrate it all under one frame, under one heartbeat, basically.
And I love that. A lot of leaders listening right now is, oh, Enrique, you've been focusing on this inner work, this thing for us to go deeper. But I tell you that a leader cannot perform optimally without having these things addressed. And there are a lot of leaders out there that are doing the superficial work of management, but they cannot lead because they can't lead themselves through a corridor, long enough to not to break down. And leaders are often negated or overlooked in terms of these things that are happening in their life, as if their position holds a higher degree of worth than their actual life. And so that's why we're bringing up all of these things. And when working with clients and that are seeking transformation, because there are leaders that say, I need some help, what signs do you look for that indicate that they are beginning to access expanded awareness?
Beautiful question. And before I even answer that, I want to go back to the leadership part that you said. It is so important. And this is why also I became not just a coach, but an international speaker where I come and give trainings to big corporations and bring in this work. It's crazy how I still have to like use a narrative that I put my guidance underneath the water because like leadership, conscious leadership, but always in all the trainings and corporate trainings that I come to do, there will always be this energetic, somatic work incorporated. And to see these leaders work through this and see the shifts that happen is absolutely breathtaking how they've never even recognized what it is to ask your body what it needs or what is it that they're feeling. There is a misconception that a leader must always keep their poise and be walking straight. But a true leader is one who humbly does this inner work and shares their journey with the people around them. So this is a little wish of mine to any leader that is hearing us at this recording later, that they are inspired by this moment that we are creating and step up to their truth and just lead by example. The signs that you can see that people are stepping into a new energy flow and really integrating the concepts, you can actually see the body language saying so much. Before, they wouldn't a lot of the coaching happens online and they feel intimidated. Now they're looking straight at you. There was a lot of turning down, closing eyes, not being able to tap into emotions. Emotions are opening, they're feeling more in allowance to share those emotions. There are more authentic expressions that they're feeling more vulnerable to express. They're more open-minded to hear what is there available for them, but not from what I don't suggest anything as a coach. I'm setting the stepping stools to wherever you want to take your boat. And so allowing them to have those process and seeing how they're tapping to their inner voice is another sign, of course. And one that I absolutely love is when they start to recognize a pattern that is reoccurring, because once you acknowledge that, then they become there's all these aha moments, and I really pause in these aha moments to help each moment like this awareness that they're like, oh my gosh, I know where this is coming from. So we go to the root cause once, tapping into that shift of emotion and going deeper. I mean, there's so many other aspects, but overall it is so, for me now, is so easy, to be honest, even if they don't show these signs. Energetically, I haven't done this such a long time, I can tap in when to see and feel where there's a shift.
And we can hide many things, believe me, right? But there's some things that you just can't hide. My wife is one that says, "I see it in your face." Right? So I'm one of those type of expressive human beings that if something's up, you can tell in my face. Now, emotional release can be a deeply vulnerable process, and a lot of leaders have shunned or kind of protected themselves from this emotional release. How do you create a safe and empowering environment for your clients to navigate those intense breakthroughs?
I love this question. First of all, we talk this is the first thing we talk when we open the screen, that this is a safe place, that everything is allowed, that nothing is judged, that anything we speak here will stay here. Because sometimes you have a wife, then you see the husband or a leader that might have their clients or other people in the company involved, their staff that come also to coaching. So knowing that you have a private, secure space filled with safety and support is so amazing to offer that space. And people do definitely appreciate it. We also share that this is a space where it's for them and that they are in control at all times, that I am not here to change or shift anything, that we are just here to remember their essence of who they are and have been all throughout this time, that perhaps where they are now is just a recollection of memories acquired from experiences that they've been surrounded with, and their culture and their generational patterns. But this is not a place to fix people, but it's a place to just bringing back the remembrance of their true essence. And as a coach in many modalities, especially dedicated great part of my life in education, I bring the example that when we are born, all children are born by um, divine, whatever you want to call your divine. And when we are born, you'll see children. In fact, I tell people, when you're in doubt, just go sit by a park, because a child will teach you how to smile even though they got hurt. They share. If someone is missing out on something, they go and give a random hug to a little kid that fell, and so much more that we learn from children. So it's just going back to that essence of when we were born, and see the process with so much grace and love as we unfold the mastery of where their life plan has been.
Very, very inspiring. And you mentioned the years that you've invested into not only your own work, but also working with others. And you've helped thousands unlock personal transformation. Is there a recurring emotional or mental block you see most often? And how do you guide people through it?
Oh, there are many, but the one I can actually tap into most, that will actually box in a lot of them, is the feeling of unworthiness. Is something that they feel like they're not good enough, that they're not capable of being loved or being seen. All these inner voices that they have picked up through their generational patterns, through their life experience. And this really is one that I want to say almost everybody has in some way or shape or form. It brings a lot of fear to actually be seen, and not only be seen, but be courageous enough to present yourself in the way you want to present yourself, and feel in a place that to have your own voice. So this is also another aspect why I also went through a lot of teachings to become a public speaker, and now help people have their own voice. In fact, in my book that I have, a journey back into your heart, and the slogan is how to live in love with you, your life, and your path. There's a whole chapter on from a silent, broken little girl to an international speaker. So having this voice and being able to listen to your own voice and actually speak is one of the processes that I enjoy the most, helping people break through. So when you do that, it helps with the unworthiness, and of course going through the whole process of finding the root cause of where this wound is. And it's not hard at all. We have I've developed not only a system, but a way to connect with each individual. No coaching session is the same, no speaking engagement is the same. It's when you tap into the energy of where the people are. In fact, I want to share with you that it's happened to me multiple times when you go to big corporations, UPS, Danone, and I've been blessed to come. They want to have a layout of your presentation. They want to have what is it you're going to be talking about? And sometimes during the break, I just say, how much do you trust my work? I need to shift what I shared with you. I want to tap into this that is happening here. These people are showing me where the ache and the pain and the possibility to have this evolution and all of this integrated. And I'm happy to share with you that people do trust. And so we've been able to really do some great shifts by tapping into what the moment is showing us.
Yeah, and that's very important, especially as a speaker or somebody that's coming to, because the audience drives what we trying to speak and trying to convey. And sometimes those shifts are necessary in order for you to get everybody, all on one page and be able to bring them through. Now, you mentioned something very important, which is that feeling of unworthiness. And sometimes I have said, in the Hispanic culture, the humility is almost forced on you. You're not going to stand out, you're not going to embarrass us. I remember my mommy was saying, ni te atrevas a pedir para comer ni algo ni nada. And, you know, and she would say, you know, don't be out here acting like you're hungry or you get, you know, don't bring no attention to us like that. And that sense of humility sometimes is forced and it becomes something else. And leaders, maybe you don't come from the Hispanic community, but that still was a thing, right? You know, what we do at home stays at home, and everybody's kind of like quiet about everything. And it doesn't help you. Not that you need to be out there throwing everything that happened in your household, but sometimes in order for you to get help, you have to be able to say, hey, I am suffering from such and such. Can I get some help in that area? And so, leaders, if you are battling that cultural type of hindrance to this type of work, we're letting you know now that it's okay to say, "Hey, I need this type of work, and I need this journey to begin to healing." And so, for listeners just beginning their healing journey, what is one small practice they can start today to connect with their body's wisdom and begin shifting their energetic flow?
I love it. Thank you so much for all that wisdom and this question. I first of all, I want to deconstruct any possibility that this question might bring anxiety or fear to anyone. It is so simple to start this journey. Put yourself with two or three goals and deconstruct the idea that meditation is hard, mindfulness, this is, I can't do it. It's like so much going on in my head. Just even waking up in the morning and before you get that cell phone, before you step out of bed, just keep your eyes closed, open your eyes. I don't care. Just be grateful for three things that have happened to you. What are you feeling that morning? And it doesn't have to be so complicated. You woke up. That's a great thing. So when you focus on gratitude, it really you start activating your energy in such a different way and with positivity and a will and a wish to get out of that bed. You want to I actually developed at some other point we'll share with our audience this video. I have a video that's it's called morning activation, where you actually get out of bed and you actually activate your energy. You bring down, you're pulling like life force energy into you. And then you start overposing your hands in different parts of your body to awaken. Like, for example, you would your hands over your eyes and you say, thank you, eyes, for showing me what I need to see today. Thank you for allowing me to see all who I am and how I may be able to be a vessel of love to others. I mean, the dialogue comes within practice. Of course, with what I do, my way of speaking is very broad and brings in a lot of different ways to say this practice. It's not a script. You go to your eyes, into your mouth, into your heart space, just to awaken your body and bringing awareness who you might be able to send some light and love on that day, on this particular day, when you're integrating not only your own awakening, but bringing it to others. That connection builds a bridge of so much expansion and unity. And just catching your breath. Taking a walk, sitting down, perhaps your back next to a tree. These are simple things when I'm in trainings and coachings in conferences. Literally, you can put in your clock 10 minutes of this is the difference of how you start your day and how the outcome of it will be. So, this is just a little introduction, of course, of other things that we teach as we go along in the different things that we do.
Yeah, I love that. And awareness and acknowledgement coupled together is so powerful. You mentioned the opening of eyes and understanding. Wow, I made it. This is, yeah, I had some trouble yesterday. It may still be lingering around, but I am here today, and that is something. And I've told my children, I did some research on how many people in the U.S. die per night. and it's been around 8,000. It's a lot of people do not make it from one night to the next. And so to acknowledge the fact of gratitude around, I'm not one of those today, and taking advantage of the fact that you get to live this day. There's something that's there for you. And obviously, I have some other things that I do, but that is definitely one that I practice because I understand that life is a gift and not everybody got it that morning, right? So thank you for sharing that. A wonderful, and you showed your book. We know that, and I'll make sure that to have that video and the book tied into our show notes so that viewers and listeners can get a hold of that. But what do you have coming up, and where can the viewer or the listener follow or support you?
Oh, thank you for this opportunity. We are in different platforms, also in Instagram as Val Alino Coach, Val Alino on Facebook, LinkedIn, also basically Val Alino. And we do have incredible opportunities to grow together. I'm actually excited that I partnered with a neurologist in Dubai called Dr. Sweater. She's incredible to follow. And we have an upcoming retreat November 15th and 16th in Dubai. And to be honest, Enrique, it's almost like crazy what it's offered there because with 500 US dollars, you get two stays in a five-star hotel. All your lectures and experiences with scientists and sages, and you get your brain scanned with interpretation and a memory test. So there's so many things that we think that we cannot do. We don't have the time. We don't have the money. This is no excuse because the opportunities are there. I'm also doing a retreat in Costa Rica. So that's happening at the last weekend of September. I partnered with Dr. Luisa, and we are bringing a group of people to integrate. Sometimes talking about fear is very um, hard for people, and to be able to work through fear is one of the greatest opportunities to really release all tensions and understand the potential that you have within you to conquer everything. So we can talk about it into coaching, but when we're doing a zip lining and we're going in rivers, that is you confronting fear in a different way. So it's a way to integrate. I'm being very creative to bring opportunity for people to do something beyond their day to day. What would it take for people watching us today to say, you know what, I want to go, I want to do this? And the money, that's a different topic for us in another segment, because if we don't have an abundant mindset, which is you energy is yes money, but there's so much more of how the abundance and energy can come into you. So we're doing all of this, and there's a sound healing certification in Atlanta with Ramji, who is my personal teacher. And these are the main events that we are doing physically. Also a retreat in Merida. For those that don't know me, I am a nomad. I've been a nomad for 5 years. So I've deconstructed and continue to deconstruct and do my own inner work to see how it is to fully trust your journey, which happens to be the slogan of my company. How am I able to do this by not having a fixed income? And how am I able to have now an international community with the simple fact that we're showing up and doing the work? And I'm inspired to bring this opportunity to others by your servant heart. Enrique, thank you so much.
Well, that's wonderful. It sounds like great events to be part of. And I encourage everybody that's listening or viewing to get a hold of that. And we'll make sure to put all the links necessary for you to view and potentially be at these events. And Val, we thank you for taking the time to be with us and sharing all your wisdom around this topic. Leaders, I hope that you are interested, first of all, in the inner work, and that next you are taking actions to do so. Now, today's episode is sponsored by the Global Trends Magazine, the Outlier Project, Fantail Services, Southern Sweet and Sassy Coffee, Ascend Meditations, and Chop AI. And if you've enjoyed this episode and learned something interesting about the topic covered today, Make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and let us know by leaving a comment. Tune in next week for another episode where we dissect leadership from another angle. And as we like to end the show, success to you.